reluctant to throw things out because we like to think they've got a second use. Think about what you purchase. Think about what you use items for. Think about their extended life, how you go beyond that. Can you and do you really need the stuff you are buying? Has it got a second use? I suppose I always think about. We can buy sustainable products in the grocery shop, and if you're selective, we live sustainably by what we produce out of our wicking beds. Not fully, but it certainly supplements, and that's the important thing. It's not, we don't go short of anything. We have everything we need. We enjoy gardening. We enjoy tinkering with some, recycled materials, reused materials, and that sort of thing.
Cute, energy efficient. It's really cool in summer. You don't have to have aircons on. Winter, once you've got the fire cranked up, it's lovely and cosy. The uniqueness of it, it's different from other houses.
It sits on a 1 acre block of land, which is great in the urban environment. It's bluestone. It's primarily recycled materials, as in the bluestone and the brick. All the additives around it are pretty much recycled, like your garden beds, your path. All the extra walls, the pergolas. COVID was a very good time for us. That pergola down the end there was built in April last year. And you can see the creepers up and over it already.
No soil here, as you can see, there's no topsoil whatsoever. We direct seed out in that bush section every year. We throw seed down there, but not every year things come up. So it's struggling, but it's slowly getting there.
We went down and had a look. You can see there are a lot of small wattles coming through. There's Wirriki and golden wattle.
Banista.
There's a few others on the pole there.
So the Wirriki, for everybody on Sustainable House Day, is a wattle that's endemic to this area, and it's not found all over the place. So
we keep putting it back, but they're probably ones that we've grown from seed and put in. We can do seed.
Insulation. In fact, it's got double insulation in both sort of levels. Pop it up behind the shed until you come up with the use factor. And we were looking for a spot on this eastern side of the house so we could sit out and have a cup of tea and the like, and to have a bit of garden go with it. Over the years I'd collected a lot of rocks that were sitting up the back of the block, different sandstone, basalt, granite, local shale, you name it. And we thought, well, it could turn into a wall. And I guess COVID presented itself last year, and we did lots of jobs around the house, and this was one of them. So it's about 10 metres long, about 1.2 metres high. So there it is.
I didn't want a solid wall either, so we
put these little metal spots. These are old grater blades we've used for lentils. These are offcuts from laser steel plates that they throw to scrap metal. But sometimes if you're in the right zone, you manage to get a few.
Just odd shapes cut out of it. Well, they're all over the yard. We've got those.
Yeah, so they might be cutting a particular tool or accessory for an industry that they want. So that's how you get your shapes.
So we've collected those years and years ago before we decided on this wall. So they've been sitting in our stockpile. So
that the roof structure itself is all recycled, recovered materials. So we done that once we put the wall up. We didn't want a closed-in roof because we want to keep the sunlight factor and have an open area so that we could grow some creepers. And Elaine's the garden guru, so she grows a lot of the plants, and we try and make the best of the soil conditions that we've got.
Well, we make our own compost, and we've got worm farm and a lot of straw for the mulch on the top.
So Elaine's done the mosaic, and again with the mosaic, that's sort of recovered tiles or leftover tiles from ourselves and family and friends who are throwing it out, if you like.
Yeah, we make do with what we've got rather than go and buy new stuff.
True, sorry. That's a wicking bed, but it's one of those old compost turning tumbler, and they were getting thrown out.
Quite a few different recycled pots that we've turned into wicking pots, and I think that's the only way I can actually grow fruit trees here because of the soil. So the big pots out there in the boxes are fruit trees.
Yeah, they're wicking beds, and we're trying the fruit trees, and this is their first year, so obviously we haven't had a heap of fruit or anything yet, but hopefully that'll going to get better.
From the farm, the big wicking beds are the is it they bring chemical or oil or whatever, those great big plastic with the frame around, the metal frame.
You are very selective in what sort of
chemicals
product it has
been
in
washed and washed and washed.
But you can also get them. The wine industry has them, and I think say the olive oil industry has them. And they're probably where you'd recommend people go to get them. Yeah.
It's just we've been lucky having the farm to pick up so much second-hand.
You always
materials.
Wash them out thoroughly. In fact, the beds we wash out at least 3 times. Yeah. And the trees have been
and leave them alive and doing well, so you must have done a good job.
Yeah.
Plants for bees. I've put in lavenders and rosemaries and all that for bees to come. This is the liner out of an old washing machine that we've made into a pot, and this is the recycled tumble composting bin that we've turned into a wicking bed. Anything metal I like, the old rusted metal things. Yeah. And Ken made the gabions out of all recycled stuff.
It's just an appreciation of what you can do with stuff that you might otherwise throw out. An appreciation that it has got a value and you can reuse it. I think it's important we kind of, the simple answer is, oh yeah, just jump in the car and go down to Bunnings and buy something new, whereas you don't need to do that. You can grow plants in all sorts of different things.
Well, when we first bought this place, this was a garage. The previous people had a MG sports car, and they could drive in under this arch. But we've got a 4-wheel drive, so it was useless for that. So the first thing I said was, well, that's mine. So I've got it for my studio.
Yeah, the potbelly stove came out of the house, and we thought, well...
And we put him in here. I said, well, I'll have that.
And it's warmer out here than inside the house.
I'm not. So Ken's built shelving and everything in here for me.
And what sort of things do you create out here?
Everything. I went and did a welding course, and I also do patchwork. So after you've done mosaics and welding, and then you come in and try to work with material, it's a bit of a disaster. Your hands are a mess.
You've got something there.
So that's, at the moment, we're making recycled aprons from denim jeans. So I've got another one there. I'm with a group, textile artists in Bendigo, and we make all sorts of things. So sewing, paperwork, mosaics.
The birds?
Ken made the birds and I papered them. Yeah. So we do a lot of that. We have worked. We can't
do that together. We'll make that shape from scrap timber, and Elaine will wallpaper them or paint them. So this became Elaine's sort of art and crafts studio. It was a bare shed, so we've insulated, plastered the roof, put the ceiling fan in, done all the doors and windows, and they're all, I made some of the doors, but all the windows are recycled from other old buildings. All this timber here come from an old bed. Yeah, so you find a use for it, and that make great shelving.
So Acacia Pycnantha golden wattle mosaic, to making macrame hanger for an old cane basket.
They have miles of it on rural properties, unfortunately. I'm a bit of a scrounger, I suppose, and I have dismantled a couple of old buildings out on the farm, and I get the timber from it, and it's red gum, and you bring it home and hopefully you can turn it into firewood or make something out of it. And the same with all this timber here. some of this timber has come from miles away, but it hasn't stopped me bringing it home. All that timber's just here, that's walnut. So, you know, you don't, well, I don't throw stuff like that out. The stuff up the top there's all jarrah, you know, so you hopefully will find a project you want to do, and away you go. This timber was going, and I just think, bizarre. You know, a lot of cutting boards and that type of thing, things that I can do. All offcuts, you know, you just use that for firewood. Even the sawdust we use the sawdust on paths in the yard. There's no wastage of any of your byproducts, I guess. Little bee hotels. Yeah, just little insect hotels. And again, you know, you're using all scrap materials. We've got the chook house here, and I guess that's part of your recycling, you know, food scraps and the like. Food production, egg production. Yeah. 4 water tanks on site, probably total about 35,000 litres. So they kind of supplement the needs for the gardening. You can just cut out a leaf shape and there you go.
Handed doors. These are bits off an old organ. Yeah. Inside there's bits and pieces of old organ everywhere. So the floor's all from a house we demolished. It's Baltic pine. All the furniture is recycled wood, recycled bamboo chairs that were being thrown out and I've covered. We stick with leather material and wood as much as we can, so there's no...
reduce your potential toxicity levels, I guess.
Yeah.
So this floor, as Elaine said, was recovered timber from an old farmhouse we dismantled, and we actually insulated under here.
It's the first thing that Ken repaired for me, and it's had a bit of a life. It's been to Western Australia and back. It's been up in the shed. And this house is only small, so I wouldn't let him bring it back in here until he cut it down. This table originally came from the farm. It was out in the shearing shed. So it's had a pretty tough life. It had actually been shot, and there's little pallet marks in it and big nail marks. And when we came in, it was very dark. It was all pine in here. So the kitchen has been done up. But we can retain things like the old door and the plate rack. Laundry, so the house is fairly small. Originally this was just a bare room. This is an old table that Ken's cut down and made a bench. We put the fire in there. It burns overnight and just ticks all winter. We have it just ticking over.
Generally,
it's recycled timber we use.
Or recovered timber.
We dry parsley, thyme, all these things through summer that I can just put out on the barbecue on a tray, and sun-dried tomatoes, basil. This is tea from the lemon verbena. There's a few little ones coming up.
Lots of bottles. These are all regeneration here behind you.
We've got things all around our house and block that people have given us. It's
got a meaning to us.
Yeah, it's got a real meaning to us. So there's lots of things that people have given us or contribute in some way. Yeah. So I don't know how we'd ever leave. Have to carry us out in a box, I think, if Ken will make the box.